What's up, YouTube? So, in this video, I'm going to be taking a look at Tom Brady. Um, his numbers are kind of down in regards to what he's usually putting up, I guess. Um, or at least that's what people have been saying. His completion percentage is definitely down, that's for sure. And people are people are starting to say that, he's starting to get old, which is kind of true. Um, he's 42, as you can see up here. But I just pulled up some of his stats to look at that before we get into the film. The 61.1 completion percentage is right now his third worst ever. He had a worse completion percentage in 2003 and 2004. I'm not counting 2000 because he literally only made 3 passes, so I'm not going to count that. That 33%. Not worried about that one. But yeah, his numbers are kind of down. But as far as yards go, he's played 12 games, and he's about 300 yards away from 2016, when he also only ever played 12 games that year. So he's really not that down. He's really not. And now the touchdowns, that's kind of another matter. But one thing to look at is he does only have the 6 interceptions. And Tom Brady has always been pretty good about not turning the ball over too much. So, yeah, with that, let's just go ahead and get right into the film. I don't know if I'm necessarily buying into this idea that Tom Brady is just suddenly this bad quarterback out of nowhere. I mean, yeah, is it possible that he's aging? Yeah. He's 42. He's probably deteriorating a little bit, but he's not going to be suddenly a terrible quarterback for no reason. As you can see, what I'm going to be targeting is that 61.1 completion percentage, because the yards, the touchdowns, that all kind of fits, because if you think about quarterbacks with teams that have a dominant defense, their numbers usually aren't as great. Tom Brady knows that the strongest point of the Patriots team is their defense, so he's going to play conservative offense, and they don't really have a running game at all. They haven't had a consistent running game whatsoever this year. So, yeah. So since I am mostly looking at that completion percentage, I've pulled up every incomplete pass that he's had in 2019. Now, as you can see, there's 188. I'm not going to show all 188. I'm sorry. I'll be here all day. I am going to look at all of them, but I'm not going to show and break down on film every single one of them, because that would be like several hour long video and nobody would watch that, so I'm not going to bother. So with that, let me go ahead and get into the first play. Let's go full screen. Yeah. Slow it down. As you can see, right off the bat, this is a really big problem with the Patriots. Their offensive line this year is absolutely awful, and their receivers really don't create separation. Julian Edelman is kind of open right here, but he's got the linebacker in his way. He can't throw it into that lane. So Tom Brady sees this guy coming right off the bat. Like the second the play starts, he's already getting pressure in his face. He's going to step up out of the way, but there's just, Edelman kind of, but no, it's too tight coverage. He's just going to try to throw that ball away. That type of play right there, what Tom Brady just did, is a big reason why his completion percentage is down. Him having to throw it as he's going to the turf. Right before his knee went down, he was able to get that ball out. That's a big reason why his completion percentage is down this year. And I'm going to show more of that. Let me go ahead and find the next one I want to show you guys. Okay, so let me go ahead and go full screen here. a lot of what happens on this play kind of shows a little bit of, I mean, because Tom Brady's taken a beating this year. He isn't one of the more sacked quarterbacks, but that's only because he's throwing the ball away so much. Tom Brady has always been good about getting the ball out before he can take a sack, and it's no exception to this year. But it's clear that he has no confidence in his offensive line. Watch this. I'm going to go ahead and slow it down, because a lot of the stuff that I'm going to point out is actually before the snap. Got a running back in motion. You see what Tom Brady's doing right here? This is something that you've probably seen him do a million times. What this means is he's saying alert or apple, depending on what team, what the cadence is for this team. But basically what it means is that the play call that they started off with, that's no longer the play. He sees something with this defense that he doesn't like, or that he thinks the other play is going to be more beneficial. A lot of times teams will go, an offense will go out there with two different plays in mind. So, for example, let's just say the first one is White here is supposed to take a draw and just go up the gut, right, like in this direction. But then the other play is to throw it. Tom Brady is seeing this front and seeing that the Texans, they're pretty much stacking the line of scrimmage right now. So if it's a run, that's not going to work. So what he's doing is some quarterbacks, they'll yell alert, and that means that they're killing the first play and they're moving on to the second one. That's what that means. Every quarterback is different. Drew Brees, you'll see him kind of... I'm having a hard time doing this, just saying it, not showing it. But he'll kind of move his hand across his neck. That means kill the first play. You'll hear Stafford actually say kill. Peyton Manning was always known for saying apple, but it all means the same thing. And for Tom Brady, it's tapping the sides of his helmet. I'm sure you guys have seen Tom Brady do that enough times. That's what that means. I've seen Tom Brady enough to know some of his cadences. As you can see, the Texans are now showing man coverage. It's looking like it's going to be a heavy blitz. They're moving one of their safeties into the box. So Tom Brady now knows that this is man coverage. The Texans aren't disguising it, really. And he's going to point the safety out, pretty much saying, you need to get him. It's pretty much what he's doing there. And this here, I think, is kind of a miscommunication. Now, as you can see, he's already started his throwing motion, but he does have a receiver open right here. But I think he is so not untrusting of his offensive line that he needs to get rid of the ball fast. And I don't like this decision. I think he was throwing into very tight coverage, and I'm not a big fan of that. Let me show it from this angle so you can kind of see the route. Let it go full speed, though. I think that's Dorsett, I believe. He really doesn't create any kind of separation, but he tries to throw a back shoulder pass to him. Doesn't really work out. He did have a man open, as I said. He has a man breaking here, but Tom Brady would have to get the ball over this linebacker, which would have been a tough throw, but it's something he can do. He could have gotten him right there. But I think he's so untrusting of his offensive line at this point that he just doesn't have time to survey the field. He kind of needs to go with his first look, and that's just unfortunate. So let me go ahead and find the next play here. Okay, let's go ahead and get into this play. I've moved on to the Dallas game. Like I said, I'm not going to show every play or even every game. I'd end up repeating myself over and over, and there just wouldn't really be much of a point. So yeah, let me go ahead and get into this. Slow it down. Fake the handoff. Cowboys really aren't tricked by this because, like I said, this is kind of a bad decision in a way to me. I understand them trying to do play action to try to get Dallas to jump, but the Patriots haven't had a running game all season, and a big part of that is because their offensive line is struggling. They really aren't creating gaps. Edelman is looking like he might create separation here, but look at this pressure that Dallas is bringing. He has to step up, but Jeff Heath is coming at him free, and Tom Brady just does everything he can to just get rid of that football. That's the type of stuff that's happening to him. Stuff like that. And like I said, is it possible that he's starting to deteriorate a little bit? Yeah, maybe his arm strength isn't what it was, but the thing about Tom Brady is that his arm strength was never at an elite level to begin with. It was competent, for sure, but his arm strength was never like Matthew Stafford or even Josh Allen. He never had that powerful cannon of an arm. Tom Brady has pretty much won games based off anticipation, preparation, and accuracy, and decision making as well. So let me go ahead and find the next one. I don't know how much more I'm going to show, but I feel like I should show it. Okay, let me go ahead and find the next. Let me go ahead and let this run. Slow it down. As you can see, that didn't go in slow motion like I wanted it to. I hit it. You've seen it. Why don't you want to go in slow motion? There it goes. But as you can see, Tom Brady is getting rushed right from the jump. He tries to step up. He tries to break this tackle, but it's just not going to work. He's got two guys on him. He's just going to lob that thing. I don't know how he got that ball out. Like, it honestly kind of reminds me of like a young Ben Roethlisberger a little bit there, just finding a way to get rid of that football. But that's the type of thing that he's having to contend with. I mean, of course your completion percentage is going to be down with this type of offensive line play. There aren't really too many quarterbacks that would succeed. People like Russell Wilson, maybe, because he can scramble out. But honestly, Tom Brady, his protection is breaking down so quickly that even someone like Russell Wilson might really struggle with a team like this because the pressure is happening so fast you don't even really have time to scramble. But let me. All right, let me go full screen here. Hopefully the slow motion works this time. Yeah. They actually got a linebacker and a fullback, which is interesting. He's pointing out the linebacker here. Literally, look at this. Look at this. Look how fast Brandon Ingram gets past this offensive line. Tom Brady can't even finish his drop back, and Brandon Graham is already coming, and he's got him coming already. He's got the defensive end. He's got this dude. I'm not an Eagles fan. I don't know who that is, but he's got people coming for him already. Like he just throws this away. It gets batted. He literally just threw this into the turf just to get rid of the football. I mean, I don't know how you're supposed to have a good completion percentage or good numbers when you're looking at that. Let me go back to the stats. I'm not going to bother showing any more plays because it's just redundant at this point. I'm going to go ahead and look back at the stats. So, with that context in mind, looking at these stats, it's really not that bad. Well, it is bad because he's struggling, but it's not all on him, is basically what I'm trying to say. It's just. It's just awful. I mean, they have no offensive line at all. And it's really apparent because they haven't had any running success despite having some pretty solid running backs. I mean, Sony Michel, Damian Harris, Rex Burkhead, James White. I mean, Bolden. They're all solid running backs, but they have no running game this year because their offensive line is awful. And Tom Brady is being forced to throw the ball away a lot quicker. And sometimes he's making questionable throws just because he doesn't trust his offensive line to hold out long enough for him to survey the field. He can't. They've been awful this year. And adding on to that, the Patriots defense, like I said, is playing pretty well. I think you can run the ball on them a little bit. I don't think they're as legendary as people are claiming them to be. They're solid. They are a very good defense. Don't get it twisted. But I do think that it's not this all-time great defense that they're making it out to be. This is kind of a problem I'm seeing a lot, not just even in sports. People taking statistics out of context or taking things out of context. This 61.1 completion percentage looked really, really bad until you look at the context that I just showed you with his offensive line just failing and him having to throw the ball away. That's smart football, especially when you have a good defense. You pretty much just play conservative football. I mean, that's pretty much what Terry Bradshaw did. That's what Bob Greasy did. These quarterbacks, these Hall of Fame quarterbacks that have had historically good defenses, they play smart football. They don't turn the ball over, and that's what Tom Brady is doing. He's making sure that the offense doesn't lose the game, and then they just let the defense keep them in the game. So, yeah. So, in all, like I said, is he deteriorating? Maybe a little. Like I said, he's 42. He is getting older, but I don't think it's as bad as people are making it out to be. They're looking at these stats completely out of context to what the real situation is. And to me, it's kind of on the same level with the way our culture is. Maybe I'll get into that in another video. I don't want to get into politics like I was about to. But, yeah. Anyway, I think I'm going to wrap this video up here. If you like this video, I'd appreciate you hitting that like button. If you have any questions or comments, leave them in the comments down below. Subscribe if you haven't already. And I'll see you next time. Bye, guys.